Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining the CCG high level meeting. Today we've got 11 sessions and we will finish at 4:30 p.m. BST. So that's 4:30 p.m. British Summer Time. And again, thank you for joining us today. The high level meeting closes the ST Summer School and we're very happy to have all of you here today. My name is Naomi and I will be the MC for the first half of this high level meeting. Carla, Cannone, my colleague, will be continuing the second half as MC. And with that, I will pass the mic on to Mark Howells, CCG Program Director, who will start off the first session.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Naomi, and thank you, Carla, for all the hard work that you've been putting into this. So I'm chairing this session. We've got two outstanding speakers to kick us off. They are Dr. Adrian Tompkins from the ICTP and Professor Holger Rogner, who has a very long list of impressive affiliations and associations that I'll leave him to describe us. But I'd like to kick off though by saying, this meeting is a collaborative effort. We're ever so grateful for all of the partners and others that are involved, not just the people that and organizations involved in setting up this summer school, this joint summer school. CCG is one partner in a large number of other partners. I'll mention them in a minute. So just massive thank you to the organizing partners and a massive thank you to the governments and universities and others around the world that we've been working with. Close to 50 have been represented and that's impressive, with several people often coming from more than one organization. So this is a partnership activity. It's hosted at the ICTP. We've had the privilege of doing this.
No, I'm meeting him.
The champion. If I can ask folks to perhaps mute their mics if they're not speaking, that would be terrific. The ICTP, they're the hosts. They've been incredibly gracious. We've had several summer schools now. It's been championed by an amazing vision of the founder, that I think elements of which we've been taking forward. The idea that there's a space where scientists and analysts from across the world can get together and just do really meaningful work. We're incredibly grateful for the opportunity to partner with yourselves and to be able to do this more or less every year, barring the odd global pandemic and so on. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Adrian Tompkins, who's just been an amazing champion in this space. Adrian, over to you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Yes, I've been working here now for 15 years at ICT, and I've had the privilege to be able to be, the contact point for Mark. And also Holger, where this school and this activity grew out of basically a number of events that were run with the agency through a number of years. And I have to say, well, it's very nice to be able to welcome you here in Trieste. For those of you that are signing in online and haven't been to the centre here, I hope you have the opportunity to host you in person in future events. It's a very nice location. I have to say, living in Italy, it has many advantages. As I was explaining, it's a beautiful spot to host summer schools. But life in Italy also has its complications. Connected with energy, just to give you one example, when we get our electricity bills at home, basically in most countries you'll have two lines of how much electricity you've used, and this is the price you have to pay. Your electricity bill in Italy, it runs to about 7 pages of different information split down into different categories. But if you dig down through those 7 pages, you'll find there's actually quite a lot of data hidden away inside there. And so somewhere on page 5, you'll actually see some interesting statistics about energy mixes. So when you look at that, they have energy mixes on a national level, where they actually state now that the country has renewable energy basically making up 40% of their mix. And then they also have the breakdown at the regional level. And so when you look at that statistic, they will say Friuli-Venezia Giulia, which is where our institute is situated, and it will say renewable percentage, and it says 0. So I looked outside on the roof of my house where there are actually 3 kilowatts of solar panels. And so I thought to myself, well, I know in Friuli, next to Julia, there's at least 3 kilowatts, and probably a lot more. Anyway, the reason why I'm saying this is that data, of course, is very nice to have, but data needs to be accurate and it needs to be useful, and it needs to be useful and ingested into high-quality models, which also need to have high accuracy and so on. One of the reasons why I think that we support this activity for so many years is it's an example of excellence in data use, open data sources, open access models in the community, and which have been developed and sustained. And the reason why this activity is so successful is because we have that excellence. And so ICTP supports science, but it supports excellence in science above all. And so I think this is the reason why basically we're really looking forward to partnering in this activity for many years to come. I was just reminding Mark that next week we need to already start thinking about putting together the proposal for next year, so we can welcome you all again next year to the Institute here. And I just want to thank you all for choosing us actually to host you here. I think it's really been marvellous, and I think it's an example where our collaboration with the HSC and our other partners has really led to basically success in science. So thank you very much, Mark, and I'll hand back to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Adrian. For those of you who don't know, there was a subtle thing that I got the application form in a little late last year, but we might happen. So thank you for fixing all of those things. As I said, this particular meeting is set up in partnership. There are a large number of international organizations, the ICTP, International Atomic Energy Agency was mentioned a second ago, the Climate Compatible Growth Program. I'll rattle off a list specifically just to thank both because it's important in a second. But one of the important groupings is a community of practice called OpTIMUS. And OpTIMUS is short for Open Tools, Integrated Modeling and Upskilling for Sustainable Development. And the chairperson of that group, which includes a large number of these partners, is Holger Rogner, who I had the privilege of being his employee for a long period of time. And, his work goes back to developing some of the first models that helped us to see that technology would actually allow us to develop cleverly at a time when we thought that the world was absolutely running out of resources in a very short period of time, through to helping countries develop capacity to be able to increase agency and skills to go out and make the kind of strategies and plans that are needed in order to relieve poverty and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I could babble on about Holger for a long time. I'm a big fan of his work. I'm very happy to be associated and very happy that it's one of the folk opening this summer school along with Adrian. So over to you, Holger.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks also, Adrian, for this nice introduction. By the way, Adrian, Italy is not that bad. You're right. I just came back last night from Sicily, and I must say, energy there was cheaper than it's here in Vienna. So there are also niche markets for yourself where you can go down and what we did, we addressed hydrogen. How could we best get hydrogen into the system as a complement to electricity in all kinds of ways? And the idea of an OpTIMUS approach was indirectly also discussed, and I think that really touched down well on the audience there, that you have to get stakeholder involvement from early on, that you have to look at all energy options, that you look at the integration, you have to look at the market, of course, the governance, the regulation, and all these kind of things. And in one way, that what we prepare with our OpTIMUS and the summer school at ICTP, people to do that, to really look at the energy in an integrated and a holistic way. You cannot just look at one energy source. You cannot just look at energy in itself. It's not an end in itself, but it serves a purpose. I mean, I started modeling some 50 years ago. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, that long ago. we only had one issue: how to get coal and into the system to replace oil in the early 70s. That was the main issue. Environment? No way. Equitable access? No way. That was not on the agenda. But over the years, step by step, these things became important. One had to integrate, you had to take them on. Otherwise, you would not have been relevant anymore. And so the models have grown. And if I look at the models that you have been working with the last few weeks, then I must say there are light years in between. And of course, it also will take longer to grasp the essence of the pure mechanics of modeling. But it's even more important what I call the science policy interface, that you use these models not as a way to tell somebody the truth. It's a way to understand your options, to understand the trade-offs and the risks that are involved with each of the various ways you're trying to pursue. When you can really advise governments, you can be a help to make him understand, if you do that, that might be the consequence. If you do this, that might happen. And if you put all together, then he has or she has the right basis for a informed decision making. You don't make the decisions, the policy maker makes. So let me not talk more. You have many presentations during the day. Thanks again for having me. Next time I make sure that there's no conflict of schedule and so on. I can be with you. Wish you a really good and informative high-level meeting and all the success. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you very much indeed, Holger, and again, just a special thank you to all the partnerships that are involved, and especially with the ICTP. It's a privilege. So that ends session 1. If we could give Holger and Adrian just another round of applause. Appreciate it. So we'll go into session 2 now, which is the culmination of the summer school. For those of you who don't know, it is the case that we've had close to 100 participants that have been working incredibly hard together with a set of master students from Simon Fraser University, from Imperial College, from Loughborough University, and others, all developing just amazing policy notes and analytical insights that are just brilliant. And it's a privilege to have been able to work together. I should mention too a couple of things. Number one is that all of the work that's being done builds on the efforts that have been initiated by a large number of partners. We've just been in the privileged space of being able to pull a lot of that together. So IRENA, IEA, and a number of others have donated material and synchronized their technical assistance programs, and SMAP at the World Bank to be able to do this. So just want to mention that. The second thing is that the school has been logistically an amazingly intricate challenge that has been met very, very well by a couple of people that have made, 2 or 3 people that have made sure that things have run smoothly. And I'm going to ask them just to read through the names of the folk that are going to get certificates, so we're able to complete that in just a second. So I'd like to ask Adrian and myself to just move on to these seats, and we'll give them over to Carla and Naomi, who together with Rudolf Jägernan have done a phenomenal job in organising the school. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm Naomi, and with Carla and Rudolf, we're the co-directors of the ICTP Summer School, and we'll read out the names of the participants from each track who've gained a certificate. So if I could ask all of you to clap after each track has been announced, that would be great. Thank you. So for the MIG and EBS track, we've got Yuranine Mudao, who gained a certificate, and Vu Jiang. For the Fit and Plan track, the Mark Manati, Ignatius Lehman, Sana Eseber, Bennett Oina, Soje Eboa Dube, Monday Adenomon. The cruise track Ada Chandra Lismana, Mariana Wetu, Pardian Amadi, Masume Barazade, Mahmoud Sharifan, Lydia Onditi, Marco Aurelio Janadito, Paraclete Ubu, Kosan Chola, and Kumbuso Joshua Neoni. Thank you, and apologies for my pronouncing your name. And on to my colleague, Carla Cannone.
Thanks, Naomi. So for onset, we have Monica Merdekavati, who Nanto Uyan, Sara Odera, Adrian Sare, Udnak Akpan, Olubisi, Ayan Leke, Temitope Omowumi, Noel Same, Joshua Chalapanari, and Robson Virambat. Thank you. And then for news, we have Mattia Carboni, dall'Orsoletta Alaize, Renato Souza Fernando, Sonia Secchi, Raul Mishra, Imtiaz Hussain, Semra Bakalogu, Mohamed Erfandoraki, Osin Nasrollahi. Thank you. And then finally, for the Osmosis and Flex tool, we have Rakia Bolaleki, Nada Kriki, Ninad Lale, Victor Emmanuel, Babaji Shari, Sal Golobish, Jakob Dalter, Pacific Matabashi, Ivan Ayuketa, Bongo Mojaf, Mohamed Shevali, Natasha Arland, Anna Gibson, Kane Alexander, Wairi Sunanda, Pusanisa Paibonsin, Carlo Roberto Palazzi, Johan Yongua Nana, Kumbuso Nioni, Onore Tanciado, Mami Ranzanayatovo, Emma Richardson, Terno Lobo, Anna Lusucombe, Aura Nayera, Lisbeth Hernandez Ramirez, Gloria Langburg, Tuo Zhang, Michelle Akute, and a special shout out to Michelle that was also a trainer, and Udor Okien, Victor Tieno, Raymond Yogo, Simone Jose Ogusu, and finally Neve Fields. Thank you.
And thank you to all of the trainers as well, who without their support and efforts, this would have never happened. So a quick shout out to the lecturers and the trainers as well. So for the cruise track, we've got Lee Martindale, Francesco Garduni, Abhishek Shivakumar, and Takoni. For the EBS and MIG track, Ilsa Escobar, Anita Hassan, and Ilsa. And for the FinPlan track, Manuel. For the onset track, Babak, Alexandros, Darguti, Shravan, and Christina. For the osmosis track, Neve, Rudolph, Carla, Puya, Consuela, Bozy, Pierre, Sina, and Taco as well. And thank you again, everyone. I think that's everyone, right, Carla? Yeah, thank you. Sour Creams and Camaria for clues, apologies, but thank you again so much for all your efforts and time. And with that,